Hi Scholar, welcome to the second video of the 10 video series by Map of English as we guide you to acing your SPM English speaking test. This lesson will begin with me, Teacher XJ, as usual, reading out the sample, and after the reading session, I will be explaining to you on how to analyze the question, elaborate on your answer, as well as point out what you should be aware of. Hope you have your booklet and notebook at the ready. Let's begin. Alright, so let us take a look at our SPM English Speaking Test Part 1. Good morning, I'm Teacher XJ and this is my colleague Mr. Matthew. He'll just be listening to us. What's your name? My name is Matilda Tan Lee Jing. May I address you as Matilda? Sure, madam. What about you, Candidate B? What's your name? My name is Siva Kumar. What's your favorite subject, Candidate A? I love mathematics. It's always so satisfying to be able to solve a complicated problem. Candidate B, do you go to school by bus? Yes, madam. My parents need to go to work, and if I go to school by car, they would have been caught in a jam and would be late for their work. Candidate A, would you like to become a reporter in a newspaper? Why or why not? I would not. This is because a reporter will need to go great lengths to search for news to report every day, and I'm not suited for the job as I would be stressed easily, especially if I don't find something newsworthy to report. Besides, I'm worried that people might find me odd if I approach them out of the blue to ask for news to report. Alright, Candidate B, where would you like to go for a holiday? To Iceland. It has been the biggest dream of mine, and I really want to be able to watch the Northern Lights in real life. They are already breathtaking in videos. I cannot imagine how spectacular they would be in real life. I see. Thank you for your explanation. Okay, so like I said in our previous video, part 1 is actually really simple. They will always ask you basic questions. Okay, so let's move on to the explanation. So explanation, I'll keep it short this time because otherwise it's going to be the same content that I'll be repeating myself in the first video. So remember, when they ask you a question like this one, they ask our candidate what is her favorite subject, not stopping at the sentence I love mathematics or mathematics is my favorite subject. She gave a little bit of elaboration. Okay, she talked about her feelings a little bit when she was doing mathematics. Okay, it was so satisfying to solve a complicated problem, so which is why she loves maths. So always try to elaborate on your answer. If you say I love English, so say English is my favorite subject because when I am able to master the language, I can speak with anyone all over the world because English is an international language. So let's say your favorite subject is science. You mention something like science is my favorite subject. This is because we get to do many interesting experiments in the science lab. Okay, always elaborate on your answer. Okay, and then the second question that candidate A received was whether she would be interested to become a reporter, and she said no, and she gave a lot of reasons for her answer. Okay, she said that a reporter needs to search for news every day, and she doesn't think she is suited for the job, and she will get stressed easily. And she also find it that she's also afraid that people will find her weird, find her odd, if she suddenly approach them and ask for news to report. Okay, maybe she's like a person who is shy to talk to strangers, so she's not suited for the job. Okay, always give reasoning for your answer when they ask you those why or why not kind of questions. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the SPM English Speaking Test Part 2. So remember, Part 2, you have 1 minute, okay, to talk about your topic, and before that, you have 20 seconds to think about it. Now, in the second part of the test, I'm going to give each of you a topic, and I would like for you to talk about it on your own for about a minute. You also need to answer a question briefly about your partner's topic. Candidate A, you shall go first. Here is your task. I would like you to talk about a performance you have seen recently. First, you have some time to think about what you are going to say. You may begin. My friend and I decided to try something new last month, and we bought tickets to watch a live performance. It was a play on one of Shakespeare's famous works, titled A Midsummer Night's Dream. The performance was about two lovers, Lysander and Hermia, who wanted to be together, but the other characters wanted them to be separated. You see, Demetrius was in love with Hermia and Helena was in love with Demetrius. And Hermia's father wanted his daughter to marry Demetrius. It was quite a complicated love triangle, or love square, and we had to pay full attention to the play to not get lost in the plot. There was also a fairy named Puck who played a nasty trick on these 4 characters under the orders of his fairy king. The performance given by the actors and actresses brought the characters and story to life, and I enjoyed myself immensely and was in awe with the work the production team had put in as well. In my perspective, more people should be interested in watching live performances as it gives them a completely different feeling compared to watching these performances through screens. Since phones were a big no-no in a performance hall, we were completely immersed in the experience, and I would definitely purchase a ticket to another performance soon. Thank you. Candidate B, have you watched any interesting performances lately? What is it about? Yes, I have. It was a circus performance and I absolutely love it, especially when it was the animals' turn to perform. Thank you. Candidate A, I would like the booklet back, please. Candidate B, for your task, I would like you to talk about your school's sports day. First, you have some time to think about what you're going to say. You may begin. My school's sports day has just ended, but the excitement of it is still within me. On sports day, an abundance of activities were held, such as running, long jump, high jump, and cheering. As someone who loves to dance and music, I was a part of the cheering squad for my sports house. Cheering is one of the most popular sports in my school, and we had to audition before we could even start practicing our routines. I was nervous as our seniors only demonstrated the dance routines for us twice, and we had to do it the best we could based on our memories. Fortunately, thanks to my dancing background, I made the team. And for 2 months before sports day, we had to stay back at school and practice the routines over and over again to make sure it was perfect. Our practice paid off when my school's sports house's cheering squad was announced as the best cheering squad. Joining the cheer squad was one of the best decisions I made so far during my high school years, as not only do I get to do and show what I love, I was also able to learn valuable skills such as having good sportsmanship and collaborative skills. To encourage more students to join sports events on sports day, I think both teachers and students who are the seniors have to show great passion and enthusiasm for the sports. The school could also encourage this further by rewarding students with more merit points and by having the counselor to give a talk on the benefits of sports. Thank you. Candidate A, for your school sports day, what activities would you participate in? On my last sports day, I was part of the marching band. We had to go training for 4 days, except Friday for a month before the big day. It was always a tiring experience, but I'm happy that I got to do it with my friends. Thank you. Candidate B, do return the booklet to me, please. Alright, now we have come to the explanation of the second part of your SPM English speaking test. As usual, I'll only be focusing on the 1-minute speech by candidate A and candidate B. Okay, so looking at your booklet, okay, you will notice that what was the performance about actually goes before who did you watch the performance with. Okay, but if you feel like you need to switch it, okay, switch the sequence, you can do so, no problem. Okay, so you can see candidate A in the beginning mentioned that my friend and I decided to try something new last month and we bought tickets to watch a live performance. As you can see in the first sentence, my friends and I decided to try something new last month and we bought tickets to watch a live performance. So the second point, we actually move it forward to the first point like I mentioned earlier, which is my friend and I, who did we watch the performance with. Okay, and at the same time, this first sentence gave us a little bit of elaboration, a little bit of background as to why we decided to watch a live performance. Okay, so instead of saying my friend and I went to watch a live performance last year, so give like a little bit of background. Okay, why did you decide to watch a live performance? It's because you wanted to try something new. Okay, So they also ask us to talk about what was the performance about. So here, if you're watching a live performance, this is a live performance. Live performance can be when you're watching someone acting live, or when you are watching someone sing and dance live, okay, a concert or whatever, okay. But here we are actually focusing on a play. So we mentioned that it was a live play on one of Shakespeare's famous works titled, what is the title? Okay, again, give a little bit of background, because if it's a story, definitely it has a title. Okay, and then what was the performance about? Since this is a story, we briefly mention what kind of story this is and what is the plot. Okay, because if you don't, right, you have only a little bit of things to talk about. Later I'll demonstrate to you, after I'm done explaining this, about what your speech would look like if you don't have elaborations. Okay, elaboration is really, really important. Okay, so you can see the next part right here, after the pink part, there's a few sentences, few lines that I say it was quite a complicated love triangle, love square, blah 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 blah. Technically this is still talking about what was the performance about, but I didn't highlight this part is because this I wanted to explain. We in this particular elaboration, we also mentioned our feelings a little bit, because we mentioned that it was quite a complicated love story. The performance was great. The actors and the actresses brought the story to life. You see, we incorporate a little bit of our feelings while still talking about what was the performance about. We are not going out of topic, yeah, by the way. Okay, so the third point that we are supposed to elaborate on is whether we enjoyed ourselves when we were watching the live performance. And obviously our answer is yes, we enjoyed ourselves immensely. And again, we talk about our feelings, and I was in awe with the work the production team has put in as well. Okay, we talk about our feelings. When you watch this kind of performances and experiences in general, okay, whatever experiences that you experienced in general, you can talk about your feelings. Okay, you're not going to go off topic when you talk about feelings. All right, and the last point, like I previously mentioned in our first video, that whenever we talk about this 1 minute speech, right, the first 3 points has something to do with the story, and the last point is related, but it's about like a factual topic already, or a persuasive topic, argumentative, depending on which side you want to be on. Okay, so the last section, the last point, we are supposed to give our answer on whether should more people be interested to watch live performances. Okay, and then we mentioned, in my perspective, in my point of view, in my opinion, more people should be interested in watching live performances. Then we have to justify our answers. We have to give reasons. Reason number 1, live performances gives people a completely different feeling compared to watching the performances through screens, right? When you're watching a movie in the cinema versus when you watch a movie on your phone, it's two completely different feelings. Okay? Since phones were a big no-no in the performance hall, we were completely immersed in the experience. So we continue to elaborate on our personal experience. When you watch live performances, right, you are not allowed to be on your phones, you are not allowed to record, and you are not allowed to, you had to silence your phone. Okay, it cannot ring or whatever during the performance, because it would affect everyone. Okay, not just the actors, but the audience who are very, very engrossed in the live performance. So be ethical, switch off your phones and all those other things. Okay, and then we mentioned, because we were so happy with the experience, okay, so we mentioned that we were completely immersed in experience, and I will definitely purchase a ticket to another performance soon. Okay, so this sentence, this statement right here itself shows how happy we are with the performance, which is why we would definitely buy another ticket to another live performance. Okay, so it's very simple to answer this. Okay, like I promised just now, let me I'm just thinking it straight out from my brain, yeah, of what this 1 minute speech would look like if you do not have elaboration. Okay, you can time me, okay, on how short this entire thing would be. Okay, following these 4 points as well, yeah. Okay, during the last weekend, my friend and I decided to watch a live performance at a local theatre. The performance was a story about a girl who was lost in the woods and had to find her way back to her house. I thought the performance was good and I enjoyed myself very much. Personally, I think more people should be interested to watch live performances because the performances that are given by the actors and actresses are excellent. And I believe that their performance should be watched by more people. Okay, the end. Can you see how short it is when you don't elaborate? I think that was just like 20 seconds at best? I'm not sure. Okay, and this 20 seconds, you see you have 40 seconds that you have wasted, right? When you can be elaborating more. Okay, so here's a tip for you. A way for you to elaborate on your points, okay, on your experiences. You think about your feelings, your thoughts when you were experiencing or you're watching something. Okay, then you mention, okay, I felt, what did I feel? Why did I feel like this? What made me feel like this? Okay, things like that. Okay, and then what else? Let me think. How else can you elaborate? Using adjectives. Remember previously I said that adjectives are words to describe. Okay, like tall, short, beautiful, ugly, wonderful, all these things. Okay, and I feel like another way you can improve your grammar, okay, you saw not your grammar, improve your vocabulary is by upgrading it. Okay, find the synonyms. Instead of saying very happy, very sad, very angry, find the synonyms of happy. You have so many words: delighted, overjoyed, instead of saying very good, wonderful, excellent, brilliant, instead of saying very sad, depressed, close to tears, a lot of words, okay, a lot of descriptions, not just one word, sometimes you have to work on reading more, okay, to see, like, in newspaper articles or in movies, how did the characters describe certain emotions, okay. And also, this is a personal thing of mine, I hate it when my students use very. Okay, because it sounds like there's one more word, right, in the sentence and it will prolong your speech, right? But actually, it decreases the quality of your speech because, like, if you use very, I am very happy today. This is because I had a very enjoyable time when I was playing a very interesting game with my very good friends. Can you see? A lot of varies and it's not nice anymore. Okay, so upgrade your vocabulary. Okay, beat everyone else. All right, so try not to use very in your sentence. Replace it with another word. Okay, I rather that you say I'm a happy person instead of saying I'm a very happy person. Okay, don't use very in your sentence. All right, change that habit. Yeah. Okay, so candidate B, if you still remember, his topic is about sports day. Okay, so the first point that we are going to be looking at is what activities were held on sports day. So obviously there's a lot, right? An abundance of activities such as running, long jump, high jump, cheering, all these things. Don't use and many more. I hate it. Okay, it's not wrong, just that I don't like it, and it kind of gives me the impression, gives me the idea that you have run out of things to say. You don't have anything else to say. That's why you use and many more. So don't use that. If you can only think of 2 examples, put in 2 examples. It's fine, because we are giving examples. We are not giving the whole list. Okay, so we don't need to say and many more. All right, so the next point that we are supposed to talk about is what competition did you join on sports day? Okay, so I chose cheering for this particular candidate because I feel like cheering, you have more things to elaborate on. Okay, so this is, this reminds me, choosing the correct point to elaborate on is very important, because you think about it, if you talk about, let's say, running, okay, you don't have a lot of things to talk about. I mean, technically you can if you're naggy enough. Okay, so let me try. Okay, try with the running point. As someone who has been running since the age of 5, I was a part of the I was a part of my sports house running team. And then here you can elaborate on what kind of, is it like a solo or is it like a team effort when you're joining the competition? Obviously, I feel like it's better to mention that it's a team effort because you get to practice with the person, right? And you get to improve your speed, okay, how fast you run, and you have competitions, right? Your competitors, Okay, and it can, when you have competitors, it will make you want to run faster. It will motivate you to run faster. And another point you can add in is what kind of skills when you will gain when you learn to run as a team of 4, which is obviously collaborative skills, good sportsmanship, all those things. But I feel like cheering has more things to say is because like normally before you sing and before you dance for the cheer squad, you need to practice and you need to audition. So that's the extra point that you can talk about. Okay, so for running, you still have things to talk about, okay, which is, you can practice running or what things that you're supposed to be aware of when you're running, all those other things. Okay, all right, so the next point was whether you enjoyed yourself. So you can see it's quite long, okay, because I was making candidate B to talk about his experience of cheering. Okay, so after he elaborated to us about the whole experience, at the end he mentioned that instead of like saying very clearly that he enjoyed himself very much, he said that joining the cheer squad was one of the best decisions I made so far. So this sentence itself tells us, listeners, that candidate B enjoyed himself when he was on the cheer squad. Okay? And then the last point, how to encourage more students to participate sports events on sports day. Okay, so our number one reason is teachers and the students, who are the seniors, they had to show great passion and enthusiasm for the sports. And the second reason, the school can reward students with more merit points when they join sports. And the third point is the school counselor can give a talk to the students on the benefits of sports. So there are 3 points that we are talking about here. So that's why I always say the last part of the speech, right, is always about a factual essay. So that is why I really, really encourage you all to go and read up on factual essay titles and come up with points and elaborations on your own. Okay, because it's very, very hard to predict what kind of topic is going to come out in this 1-minute speech. So better be prepared for as many factual essays, factual topics that you can think of. Okay, so now let me show you the sentence. Okay, not the sentence. What this test will look like if you don't have elaborations. Okay, my school sports day is an event that is held every year. And there are many activities that students can join, such as running, long jump, high jump, and cheering. The competition that I joined on sports day was running. I consider myself a very good runner, and I also participated in a team where you had to run with 3 other members. I enjoyed the experience very much, and I was especially overjoyed when our team won the race. To encourage more students to join sports events on sports day, I think that the school could reward students with more merit points, and that the students who are the seniors should encourage the students to join the sports. Can you see? When there's no elaboration, it's so short. And you will notice another thing is the points are repetitive, right? You are always repeating similar or same points. So that is not so good because it shows you ran out of ideas already. Okay, so that's why I say always prepare your answers. Okay, practice now. Alright, so moving on to our SPM English Speaking Test Part 3. So remember, Part 3 is about a discussion. So please, as usual, refer to the booklet to look at the mind map that I've put there, yeah? Now, I would like the both of you to talk about something together for about 3 minutes. The task consists of 2 parts. In the first part, you will discuss something with each other for about 2 minutes. And you have another minute to make a decision together in the second part. Let's begin the discussion. We have been taught the value of money since young. Here are some ways to save money as students and a question for you to do your discussion with. You now have some time to look at the task. Now, begin your discussion. I will start the discussion. As students, our money can be quite limited since we are receiving pocket money from our parents. Hence, it is important for us to make a budget before we spend our money. For example, if we receive 50 ringgit monthly from our parents, we can budget to spend 10 ringgit weekly on food in school and keep the remaining 10 ringgit in our piggy bank for emergency. That is a good idea. We could also control our spendings by not making impulse purchases. There are plenty of items that may attract us students to buy when we go to shopping malls, such as cute accessories and video games. However, if we step back and think about it, we do not need these items at all. We should only buy what we need, such as reference books and stationeries. Items that are normally considered as unnecessary spending would be boba tea, overpriced phone cases, and trendy snacks. If we keep a record of what we have spent on, we can review it monthly and decide which spendings are necessary and which spendings aren't. That way, not only would we be able to keep track of where our money has gone, we would also know our spending habits. True. Also, we should limit the number of outings with our friends. I do agree that it is fun to go on these outings. However, it is usually these outings where we would spend more than what we normally would on our normal day. For instance, on a normal day for us, we may spend only 20 ringgit on 3 meals. But a single meal in a cafe or restaurant could easily be 15 ringgit without taxes or service charges. If we go out with our friends 5 times a month, our food itself would amount to 75 ringgit or more. These calculations are not inclusive of our transport or any other clothing, items, or activities we may buy when we are out with our friends. With that being said, since we are only students, we should consider basic phone packages. We only need phone packages that could provide us free phone calls and limited mobile data, since we are not going to be relying on our phones as much as someone who is in the working force. In fact, we shouldn't be spending more time on our phones than our studies, which is why it is better for us to have limited mobile data for internet access, so we do not waste too much time scrolling through social media. I agree with you. As students, we have a big advantage when it comes to buying things, as we are still able to use our student discounts in certain stores. This would help us to save plenty, and we could still enjoy the same services and products without being charged at the normal rate. You have to decide together which is the best way to save money as students. I would say that the best method to save money as students is by shopping in places that offer student discounts. I am in agreement with this. Since we want to save money and there is only a limited time as to our status as students, we should take advantage of it by using our student discounts to enjoy meals, watch movies at the cinemas, and even afford electronic gadgets at a cheaper rate. Thank you. I would like to have the booklet back, please. You have been discussing the best way to save money as students. Now, let's hear your opinions about this. Do you think students should work part-time jobs? No, I think students should prioritize their studies and not take on part-time jobs, as it may affect their performance. Money can always be earned after their graduation, but our performance and results gained through our studies is permanent and can impact us when we apply for universities and job opportunities. Students should stay in the lane of polishing their skills and not worry about finance during their time as students. I would have to disagree with you. Personally, I think working a part-time job would be beneficial to the students, as not only would they have a better time management by knowing when to go to work and to finish their schoolwork on time, they would also be in charge of managing their own money and would be more careful in their spendings. Additionally, they would also learn social skills, which will be beneficial to them in the long run. Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test. Oh, okay, I'm running out of breath. Oh my god. Okay, so now we have reached the explanation of part 3 of our SPM English speaking test. So I'm not going to talk about what the interlocutor has said in the beginning because we already covered that in our first video. But please remember, either candidate B or candidate A can start first. Okay, so candidate B started the discussion with a common observation, okay, with a common knowledge that we all know, which is students, we receive pocket money from our parents. Okay, and he gave an example on how to make a budget, okay, before they spend their money. Okay, for example, if every month the student receives 50 ringgit, they can budget to spend 10 ringgit weekly in school and keep the remaining 10 ringgit in their piggy banks, okay, in their savings account. They provided a solution on how to save or budget the money. Okay, and then candidate A followed the conversation by voicing out her agreement and saying that it's a good idea. And she also added on another common observation by stating that not to say common observations, sorry, let me rephrase. She began her point by stating that we should control our spendings and not make any impulse purchases. Means, what is an impulse purchase? When you see the item, you like it, you didn't consider your finance, you didn't think whether this item would be useful to you or not, you just buy it straight away. So that is impulse purchase. You don't think before you buy. Okay, so here only then she mentioned her common observation. Okay, she said that when we go to shopping malls, there may be a lot of things that will attract us, such as cute accessories and video games. You will notice she only has 2 examples to say. She didn't say and many more. So that's fine. Okay, it's good enough. And then she implored people to think, okay, by saying that if we step back and think about it, means we have to think twice. Okay, do we actually need this item? Is it useful to us? Think about it. Okay, only after she asked people to think about it, she provided suggestions on what students can buy instead. Okay, reference books, stationaries. Stationaries are your pens, your rulers, your highlighters, all these things. Okay, whatever that you need as a student, that is obviously much more important compared to what you want to buy, such as video games or cute accessories. Okay, so candidate B transitioned and continued the conversation by talking about the other point, the third point, okay, which is to cut out unnecessary spendings. Again, he added a common observation and example, saying that, items that are considered as an unnecessary spending could be boba tea, phone cases, and trendy snacks. Because trendy snacks, boba tea, all these, they are very, very expensive, right? It's 10 ringgit at the very, very least, and 10 ringgit is the cheap one, okay? So he provided a solution, okay, on how to cut out or how to stop unnecessary spending, which is to keep a record on what you spend and look at the record at the end of the month and decide which spendings are necessary and which spendings are not necessary. Okay, and then with this method, not only can you keep track on how you're using your money, you will also know your spending habits. Okay, so he mentioned the benefits of the solution at the end. All right, so candidate A voiced out that she agreed with his point, okay, by saying true. And she mentioned another common activity that we may do with our friends, okay, our outings. And she did like a calculation for us, because previously we mentioned that she loves mathematics, right? So obviously she's going to be a person who loves to do calculations. So she's calculating the budget for us already. Okay, like normally if we are at home, we only spend like, let's say on average 20 ringgit a day. But if we go out with our friends, we will be spending how much? And times that number of times that we went out, okay, like 5 times, it will be 75 ringgit. And 75 ringgit for 5 times, for 5 meals, And how many meals can that last at home when 3 meals is 20 ringgit? Okay, this one, y'all can do the math. I'm not going to do it. Okay, so and she also mentioned, okay, she did a comparison, basically compared the spendings that we did when we're at home versus the spendings that we will do when we go out with our friends. Okay, and then she also mentioned that these calculations, okay, the amount of money that I'm calculating now is not even inclusive of transportation or any other things that we would buy when we are out with our friends. Okay, so it's very scary to know how much money that you will spend when you go out with your friends. Okay, oh my god, I just realized, why is my orange bubble for candidate B so low? Okay, never mind, it's still around the same area anyways. Okay, so candidate B did a transition by saying, with that being said. Okay, and then he gave a suggestion saying that since every one of us is just a student, we should consider basic phone packages. And then he gave his point by talking about what kind of phone packages do we need. Okay, the type that gives us free phone calls and limited mobile data. And he elaborated on the answer on why we should have limited internet data, okay, which is we actually as students shouldn't be spending more time on our phones compared to our studies. So he gave the reason why, okay. He basically gave reason why something is better, okay, why having a limited mobile data is better for us as students, okay, so we don't spend all of our time scrolling through social media and, waste our time. And candidate A was the one who did the last point, okay. She continued the conversation by agreeing with what candidate B has said, and she mentioned the last point, which is the big advantage that students have when they are buying things, okay, because certain stores, certain shops, certain companies, they offer student discounts. Okay, and then she elaborated by saying that it would help us to save plenty of money and we can still enjoy the same service, the same product, without being charged at the normal rate, okay? We will be able to enjoy the same things but at a cheaper rate because of our identities as students. Okay, so this last part right here, the interlocutor, they obviously has to, he or she has to ask the candidates to pick the best point, okay, and whether when you agree with the other party, say so that you agree and you add a little bit of elaboration as well. Okay, you can see that's what candidate B has done. Okay, they pick the point where students, the best way for students to save money is to shop in places that offer student discounts. And candidate B elaborated on that. Okay, enjoy the meals, watch the movies at the cinema, and even afford electronic gadgets at a cheaper rate. So I believe the company that provides this student discount, okay, for students to get phones or laptops at a cheaper rate is Apple. Okay, so that's where we got our inspiration from. That's where we put in our common observation, our common knowledge. Okay, so the last part, okay, the interlocutor, this is the last part I always observe, okay, I always notice that it also has something to do with the theme. Okay, so the theme of this particular topic is about money. So part-time jobs, it has something related to money. Okay, so the question that was given to both candidates is, should students work part-time jobs? Okay, as usual, I did one candidate who agreed and another candidate who disagreed. Okay, so you don't need to continue this particular section as a discussion, but if you want to, you can. It's optional. So candidate B mentioned that he doesn't think students should do part-time jobs, and then he gave his reasons. Reason number one, they should focus on their academics. Okay, they should focus on their studies, because whatever your result is on your SPM certificate, right? When you apply for university, when you apply for jobs, you still need to, the people who are hiring you for the jobs will still look at those, even when you have a degree already. So it's very important. Okay, money can always be earned, but your time as a student is only a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Okay, so, and also as students, you should polish your skills and not be worried about the finance. Okay, you have your parents for that. All right, so we have candidate A who disagreed with candidate B. Okay, and she listed out the benefits of part-time. She listed out the benefits one would gain when they work a part-time job. Okay, which is number one, they will have better time management. Okay, number two, they would be able to manage their own money and will be careful in their spendings. And number three, they will learn social skills that are important for them in the long run. Okay, here, because of the time limit, we did not elaborate on what kind of social skills, and it's not important because she already listed out 3 points already. Okay, whew, I am so out of breath. Alright, so that is the end of the second lesson. I hope you are starting to get a hang of things, and I hope you have started to write down your own answers, okay, your own words, your own sentences, okay, about the topics that I have given you. Okay, so take a break now, okay, come back tomorrow or come back a few hours later to watch the third lesson. Okay, make sure your mind is at the optimum, okay, at your best when you are learning something that you're not familiar with. Okay, so break a leg and I'll see you in the third video. Bye, scholar.